Good afternoon, Shaky SoCal 2Old4Forza, and time for a track guide for Dubai Mountain Reverse. This will actually be, I did the track guides in reverse order this week, so this will actually be race 1. Race 2, I've already done the track guide for that for Suzuka West. Again, I'm probably just going to get straight into it here. I'll do just kind of a flying lap, talk around the flying lap, then do a kind of a slow lap, corner by corner, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to do, and then after that, then I'll run a mock race against the AI just to kind of put what I think works for quick laps here, along with some questionable racecraft on my part, just to see where things sort out, because I'm sure the AI is going to be wonderful around this track. But tell you what, let's get into the test drive here, the track guide board. Now, since this is a fantasy track from Forza, the suggested line they give, they're much like Prague. There's a couple places I don't follow it. I think in this Honda, we can do things a little bit differently. Get a fast line around there. Oop, back end's a little out, so I'm third gear, hugging the inside here as much as I can. This isn't too bad. A little bit of a bump. Get into that corner, so especially on cold tires, that'll catch a little bit out. Again, I'm going to take a late turn in here. Kind of cross over the line, and hopefully wind up about the same spot. Breathe the throttle. That was a little late. Way late and way too much. Back end kicked out. Get back to the power as soon as possible. Here, just trying to straighten these out as much as you can, and you're going to be full throttle. Stay in fourth all the way at the top of the hill. Pass the turn sign, brake just before you crest the hill. Oops. Third gear, a little bit wide there, but I'm going to late apex it, bring it back across. Still in third gear. I'm going to spot the first light pole on the right side there. That's the apex of the curbing. And the third brake. Back the throttle a little bit. Quick brush of the brake, turn in. This turn, stay to the left of the dotted yellow line. Pull back into the throttle, down the hill. Brake to get in, keep it snug. Get back to full throttle by the, I'm going to call those propane tanks. I don't know. Some sort of flammable substances in there. Fourth gear. Get on the curving here. Brake. I'm looking for the light pole I'm just passing there. Like chicken with the wall. Onto the front stretch. That's a lap of Dubai. Alright, so what I was talking about here as far as differing lines. You're going to be in fourth gear. If you get a good exit, you're going to be in fourth gear racing down to turn 1. I am going to flirt with, and you know what, I should turn it back on now. Let's turn on the suggested line so we see it for everybody. So, as you can already see, it's like I'm already, I'm flirting with the line here. Where is the, that's interesting. There it is. It's way out there. So I'm already in setting up for turn 1 here. I'm already kind of flirting with the braking line. You can get over this white line. You could probably go a little bit further. But if you use the kind of the white line and saying, hey, I can get a little bit over it heading in, you shouldn't be violating track limits at all. But where I'm going to differ from the braking line here for turn 1 is I am going to turn in early and I'm going to take a shallower entry in. So if I do it right, just as I start crossing over, you can see kind of the curved lines here where the 4 or 5 lane left-hand lanes are defined. As you're crossing over to that, that's where I'm braking. But I'm actually gonna try and brake straight in towards the Xbox signs here on the wall. So brake, probably releasing just as I'm getting to the inside black and white curbing. And I think for me, getting into this, I'm going to call it the number 2 lane, I guess technically. This is about where I want to be. Once I release the brakes and start turning in, car's going to be doing a little under 70 miles an hour, and then I'm going to start trying to roll back into the throttle, and it's the balancing act. I'm actually going to try as I progress through this corner. I'm going to try and get this car as close to the inside as I can, maybe even on, just about to the curbing in third gear all the way through. Now, when I get to about the last two signs here on the left, on the other side of the wall, that's where I'm really going to start experimenting. And all through this, I'll be pushing the throttle a little bit to see where the front tires start to break loose, and I start to push out a little bit, then I just crack the throttle back. But usually when I get to these last couple of signs, it's about where this turn starts to open up a little bit. And so you might see me commit back to full throttle, and I might start drifting out just a little bit. But it should get me, out in decent position. We'll see how that, again, for me, I think that's the best line for this CRX. I'll see how it is in the race and see what everybody else is doing. But case in point, in the rain at Brands Hatch, clearways, if you follow the line out in clearways, I was hugging it narrow, and I was catching, at least under braking, picking up a couple of tenths just under braking there because I was taking a shallower line in, even though by the time we got to the apex, I'm going the same speed. So I think it's a similar philosophy there. I think, this car doesn't have a lot of horsepower. It is maintaining momentum, but there are going to be certain circumstances where shortening the distance gets you more of an advantage than trying to maintain momentum on the outside. So that's my theory. That's what I'll find out on I don't know, probably Tuesday. I think it'll be night one practice. But we'll see how it shakes out on Thursday. This next turn is a little bit tricky. If you're going to brake at all, it's a very quick brush brake right as you transition from, this part of the long left-hander that you were just into then kind of back onto the road course to go up towards the mountain. As you can see, this has got a bit of a hump, and if you take it with any sort of speed, you are going to hear, and you'll hear it. You heard it in the outlap, and even on even when I do the mock race, you're going to hear one of your tires is going to come off and go thunk back down. So I think it's probably the inside front tire. I don't think you really need to brake here at all. But crack the throttle as you get, as you start to transition and you start to turn in. Again, there's a bit of a bump here, and as I'm getting to the apex, I'm trying to figure out when I can roll back into the throttle. I think this is going to be this is definitely going to be a turn. Everybody's going to be a little bit different exiting here, even lap over lap. Might get it right, might get it wrong, but you might be able to set up a run going up the hill. But by the time I get back to full power, I am going to flirt with the yellow line here. Use all the track to get the wheel straight and let the car accelerate. And this is the second turn where I take it a little bit differently than the game suggests. So you can see I'm still way out here. I think it's this pole here. I'm way out here, whereas the line says to be more on the inside. And that line works, but what happens is if you follow that line through, you're going to get to the apex, you're going to have to crack the throttle. And then otherwise, if you try to stay full throttle, you're going to go wide, and you don't have there's not a lot of margin. The track limits comes up pretty quick. So I tend to set this one up a little bit wider so that I can stay full throttle all the way through the turn. And again, this again, kind of back to discussion in turn one, I'll find out, on Tuesday or on race night, when I see how everybody else takes this turn, if what I'm doing is actually quicker. I think this is the case where taking a slightly longer distance and allowing me to stay in the full throttle, is more advantageous than trying to follow the braking line, the suggested line through the corner, and having to crack the throttle at apex. So usually my turn in, I'm always looking at these light poles going up, and it's usually I'm starting to turn in as I pass the light pole right before the braking line goes yellow. I think it's this one right here on the left. Again, things look different when I'm slowed down, or it might even be this one here that I'm passing. But again, I'll do a late turn in, and kind of where I'm looking to apex is just before the mountain there on the right side. So I'll probably be apexing here. I might even cross over the line a little bit, trying to keep as much power in. Now my slow lap, I'm exiting shallower, but the idea is that if I do it right and I've maintained momentum, I'm going to wind up in about the same spot. You know, the difference is that I've been able to maintain full throttle. This next corner this is the other one where I think it's going to be, everybody's going to be a little bit different, a little bit inconsistent lap over lap. You don't need to brake for this next left-hander. You just need to crack the throttle to get the car in, and then it's all about, you know, if you come off too quickly, or the back end's going to step out, and you want to get back to throttle as soon as possible. So we're all going to be struggling with this one. But what I've been doing is with the braking line, I'm going to ease off the throttle no earlier than that pole there, and then no later than the one with the banner on it. I think that one's a little bit too late, so it's probably somewhere about halfway between. As far as if I can't see the braking line, I'm using those poles as to kind of help gauge that. Sorry, car. It is a bit of a lift. Oh, that pole doesn't have a banner. Haha. So yeah, between those two light poles. As far as an apex, if I do it right and I'm off the throttle, I am going to use this next pole that has the banner on it, is to be at the inside. And if I do that well enough, I should be able to hug the inside and get back to full throttle. Again, this is one that I don't think I've been consistent with every single lap, but the idea is to try and get back full throttle as soon as you can. You'll still be in fourth gear. And then for these next two, again, if you've got momentum, you're just going to take a late apex here, cut straight across, apex, bring it back out. Be careful of the yellow line. You can violate track limits and get a time penalty. So braking for this next corner, and I wonder how much their budget for confetti is. The first thing I'm going to try and spot as I'm coming up the hill and get ready for the braking here is the little triangle sign that tells me there's a turn coming. Braking for it, if you can't see because of the car in front of you, is just before you crest the hill, just before you get to the awning here on the right side. I'm calling it an awning. If it's called something else, fine. But I'm braking just before that. If I do it right, it's down to third gear. And this, yeah, the braking line's pretty good. I want to get braking in, get off the brakes, and really start to roll back into the throttle here on the inside. And again, feathering the throttle. I may even try bringing the car in as close as possible. When I start to see the last awning there that's kind of straight ahead of me on the right side, that's kind of my visual clue of like, okay, I'm going to start trying to get back to full throttle if I can. If I've done it right, I should be able to right about here. And then exit out, cut across, still in third gear, up to fourth, and usually I'll bring it out over the yellow line as I come up the hill. As I said in the outlap, the next thing I'm trying to spot as I'm cresting up over the hill, because you can't see it until you get there, is that first light pole on the right side that's to the inside. It's on the front side of the mountain. That's where the curbing is. And so just imagine that the apex curbing for the next turn heading into this little downhill section is right to the left of that. So that's what I'm going to be spotting as I come up the hill. Third gear, I'll probably be up to fourth. And I want to stay on full throttle, and I'm not going to brake until I get to the curbing. So it'll be brake, down to third, off the gas here a little bit, start to roll back into the gas of the apex, up a little bit, maybe a quick brush brake, still in third, through here, and at this point, yeah, braking line's not too bad. This next curve, curve with the curb, I would say try and stay as much as you can to the right of the dotted yellow line, because especially as we get into this curve, to the left of that yellow line, it actually inclines up a little bit towards it's kind of banked a little bit up towards the curbing. It's one of those that, depending on where you hit it, it's going to instantly push the car wide. It would not surprise me. Surprise me to see somebody try and take a dive bomb in there, but like Max Verstappen did on Lewis. But yeah, I just find that as you get in here, it's just naturally going to push the car back out to the other side of the line anyway. So I tend on my own, I will tend to stay outside of it. I think once you get most of the way through the corner, if you wanted to try and start late apexing it, you probably can get away with it probably about here, about the time you see the tent on the far side of the track. But still in third gear. Down the hill. Third gear. Cross over the double white lines. Brake as you get into this corner. And really try to hug the inside as much as you can. Again, shortening that distance. You should be able to start rolling back to full throttle just as you get to the tanks here on the right. As you start seeing those guys out of view, start trying to roll back and get back to full throttle and keep the steering in. You might have to give it a little more steering, but you really want to hug the inside. And then as you're passing the parking sign there, or the police, is that parking or is that police emergency? As you pass that blue P sign, you should be able to be at full throttle, and then you're pointed straight down the hill. So then full throttle here, third up to fourth. Hug that inside there. Again, I'll straight line it towards this last turn. I will probably use a little bit of this curbing on the right side to set up for the final turn. And as I get to it, then I'm downshifting. I'm lost track of my gearing. Am I in fourth gear at this point or third? But I'm downshifting so that I can release the brakes and turn in and do a late apex on this turn here. I'm trying to spot, and let me move up a little bit more. So I'm trying to spot, now you see the pole there that's just behind the rearview mirror. It's the very next one down the road there on the right. I'm trying to spot that as soon as I can, and that's where, again, car's going to go where you're looking. So if I'm looking at that pole and trying to spot that as I come out of this curve and rolling back into power, it's going to put me straight alongside for the last curbing. Get on that a little bit and out, play chicken with the tires, and back onto the front straight. So that's kind of what I'm doing to get around here. Again, there's going to be, this track is very abrasive. The cars are going to slide a bit, especially on cold tires, but even finding it's very easy to get the front to push. So, consistency will be the key. And with that, let's get out of assist. Go back to what I run for the race. Brake only, manual clutch. And we'll get in. I'm just going to run a mock race just to kind of see how I approach this track at least works with the AI. Where do I tend to catch them? It might show me some situations I may run into on Thursday. It might lull me into bad habits too, but let's find out. What I'm guesstimating based off the laps I've been running, it could be, I'm guesstimating around 18 laps, depending on whatever time Matt uses to do the calculation. So let's go ahead and start racing and see what happens. We'll do the same bucket, same car classes, same delays. And I'd imagine, again, I think it's one of those for some of these, the longer straights going up the mountain. I think I'm going to get outclassed there, and I'm going to be making most of the gaps up coming down the mountain. That's my theory. Again, let's go ahead and just admire the... I think part of the reason why they did Dubai is they were showing, I think, for Forza 7, they were showing off the high dynamic range on the rock formations and the environment when they built Dubai. Be nice if they would, when they build a fantasy track, that highlights good racing and fun stuff. But easy to take pot shots at them. Again, I got fingers crossed, that we've got some good things in the next Forza Motorsport. And yes, I'm just talking to stall for time. So let's go racing. Again, cold tires for first half of the lap. Oop, that's a little bit late. So yeah, the back end's kicking out a little bit there. And I did feather the throttle a little bit. I was a little bit late. A little bit earlier in the turn in pushed me wide a little bit. Again, I don't know how much that will ultimately hurt going up the hill. I think getting out of the throttle is going to hurt worse. A little early this first lap until I get used to it. And got on some of those curbing a little bit without upsetting the car too much. A little bit late. Didn't get all the braking done, so pushed a little bit wide there. Yep, still got to get the exit of that one figured out. Oop, almost kissed the wall. That's a little better. I think I'm going quite as far out. Yeah, you may not, for turn one, you may not need to go all the way out to the white line, the right side. Let's see if I can get the car to be a little bit more to the right side of that double white line. They make the next left-hander a little bit easier. Still braking there early. And again, you can get on the curb a little bit, but just remember there's K-rails right there. And they will do nasty things to your car if you catch them. A little bit better. I don't think second gear is faster there because, again, if you get the RPMs right, you're going to be hopefully over 5,000. Whoops. A little bit late getting back to power there. So pushing a little bit at apex. That's probably a little bit closer to what I would like to do through there. It puts me really close to the wall though. That's a bit better. I do it clean. A little wide there. I feathered the throttle just because I felt that the car was probably going to go and hit the outside wall. So just feathered the throttle a little bit, make sure that didn't happen. Not as aggressive as I wanted to be getting back to throttle there, but let's see what we did. 5-1. There is still some time out there. Getting a little wide, at least wide compared to the suggested line, but again, more of a guideline than a goal. Oh shit! Sorry about that. Didn't mean to hit the rewind button. I meant to actually meant to downshift. That was interesting. Pick a gear, any gear. So yeah, pit exit. Going to be interesting. The entry is not going to be much of a problem because, again, it's you can practically just take the normal racing line out. So like always, I will pit halfway through. We got a much better run out of there than Mr. Veloster. Okay, we'll box this lap. room for him there, but even if we were side by side, I'd still have the inside this one. Go in the pits, don't go in the pits, don't go in the pits. Thank you. Yeah, so it's an easy in on the pit. I think the getting out, unlike Suzuka, I think the pit exit's easy for both people still on the track and those exiting. Because I don't think there's. I mean, you get spat out right on the inside for turn one, so that's always good. Third gear, I would just stay in third and just hug the inside. Crack the throttle. Oh, you might need to brake a little bit. Back in, stepping out. Oh, you can see that's what happens when you get too close to the wall. These K-rails really do grab you. So be careful getting too wide or being too aggressive on the turn in. A little too much steering on exit. When I come down the hill next time, since I'm off throttle so much, listen to the sound the tires are making. Usually, to me, that's the sound when I say like chirping tires or happy tires. That's the sound I like hearing out of the tires, because that means that they are kind of getting close to that edge of adhesion, but they haven't quite started to squeal, as far as that would tell me that I'm losing traction and losing time. Oh, that was a little early on the turn in, and that's way narrow for this one. I got to back way out. But that pent that I gained, gone. Kind of listen to the tires here these next few turns. That's a happy tire. 1. I was down mid 54s, but I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm going to get there. Yeah, you hear that? That's an unhappy tire. Other cars. A little bit look the crossover. A bit wide just to give him some space, but don't put me way wide and he's going to start making a comeback. This will be fun. Try that inside move. Come on, Mr. Big V8 Firebird. See how much of the gap I made up? Now again, it's the Drivatar, so they tend to be a little bit slower in the corners. But again, if I can maintain, even if I'm off a little bit, but I shorten that distance enough. Five laps to go. See if I can get through this group and at least get maybe a couple laps to try and at an optimal lap. Oops. Excuse me. Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I'm not going to be able to hold that Pontiac off too long, especially on the front straight here. I'm getting stuck behind a slow Civic. Doing this because I want that inside line. Oh, that was cut track, so be careful of that. And they're a little deep. If you're going to try that inside move there like I just did, it's just make sure you don't overcook it completely, that then you cross back over and run into the guy. Wanted to get by him before we got to the bottom of the hill here. Hopefully I'm far enough ahead. I'll run this as a clean lap. Yep. All right. Before 8. Getting there. There's still a little bit of time left. I'm a little bit early there. Excuse me. Pushing a little too hard, and the car's getting... I'm pushing, and then in response, the car is pushing. Alright, one lap. Let's see if I can beat that 54.8. I might have lost it there at the end. $54.6. And just one of the things I was learning, if you've watched this far into the race, especially in turn one, once I kind of get in there, there's a point, and I can almost go back to full throttle until I get to there's that blue pedestrian bridge. That then at that point it starts to tighten up a little bit, and then you have to back off. And I was finding that then there's like a final arrow that's painted on the ground. That once I kind of get to that or see it, then that's kind of the other thing I know I can start to roll back into the throttle. But anyhow, that's Dubai Mountain. In a lot of cases, it's very much like Prague. As far as some of the flowing, sweeping turns that Prague had, maybe not as steep on the banking, but then there definitely is a much more technical bit going back down the backside of the mountain. But again, hopefully there's something in here that helps you find some time. And with that, I'm going to call it an evening. Hope you guys have a great weekend and happy racing.